Imagine, just for a second, that you are sitting in a completely sterile exam room, right? Just for a routine medical checkup.
Right, just a normal Tuesday.
Exactly. And you feel incredible. I mean, you've been running like 5 miles a day, eating perfectly. Your energy levels are just completely off the charts.
A picture of health.
Yeah. You literally tell the doctor with absolute unwavering confidence that you are in the best shape of your life. So the doctor nods, takes a vial of blood, and, sends it off to the lab.
And then you wait.
Right. You wait a few days, and the results come back. And suddenly, there is this massive hidden anomaly.
Wow.
Like a liver enzyme count or some white blood cell metric that is just through the roof. It is literally a number on a page that completely contradicts every single thing you see and feel in your own body.
Which is terrifying, really.
It is. Now imagine you aren't the patient in this scenario.
Yeah.
You are the caretaker. And the patient is a 4-year-old Siberian Husky.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Because this is the exact scenario we are diving into today. A dog walks into a veterinary clinic, practically dragging the owner on the leash. The dog is running, playing, eating kibble like a champion.
Acting like absolutely nothing is wrong.
Exactly. The owner insists the animal is the picture of perfect health. But those routine lab results, they reveal a quiet, potentially devastating issue just brewing right beneath the surface.
Yeah.
The dog is in the early stages of a metabolic crisis, yet it is still playing fetch in the waiting room.
It is the ultimate disconnect, isn't it? I mean, we rely so heavily on our visual perception. We just assume that severe internal illness will inevitably, produce some kind of visible external symptom.
Right. That's how it works for us most of the time.
Exactly. But biology doesn't always play by those rules, and especially not with this specific breed.
So today, we are taking a custom-tailored deep dive into this incredible stack of notes and excerpts from the VitalPet Podcast, specifically their Siberian Husky Health Academy.
It's a great series.
It really is. And our mission for you today is to basically uncover the incredibly counterintuitive mindset that is required to care for a creature that actively biologically hides its illnesses.
It's basically a masterclass in learning how to read the invisible signs of health.
Yeah, and frankly, whether you own a working breed or just a regular house cat, or even if you are just navigating your own healthcare, this mental exercise of learning how to see what isn't there is absolutely fascinating.
Completely agree.
Okay, let's unpack this. How on earth does an animal that's experiencing a massive metabolic crisis just happily keep playing fetch?
Well, to really get it, we have to start by looking at the deep evolutionary and breeding history of the husky. I mean, they possess a psychological trait that is famously, almost notoriously stoic.
Very stoic.
Yeah, think about the environment they were selectively bred to endure. Pulling these massive, heavy sleds across freezing, completely unforgiving Arctic terrain for miles and miles.
Just brutal conditions.
Right, and in that environment, stoicism isn't just like a cute personality quirk. It is a vital survival mechanism.
Because whining on a frozen tundra while you are strapped in a harness to a sled doesn't actually accomplish anything, right?
It actively jeopardizes the entire pack. I mean, a working dog that dramatizes a minor ache or, a sore paw simply isn't going to keep moving.
Yeah.
So over generations, these dogs developed incredibly powerful internal feedback loops. Their brains literally release these massive surges of adrenaline and endorphins while they are working, which biochemically masks the pain.
That's wild. They are literally built from the ground up to just push through physical discomfort and stay hyper-focused on the job right in front of them.
Exactly.
It sounds like, an elite human ultramarathoner who runs 10 miles on a stress fracture because that runner's high is just flooding their system and completely blocking the pain receptors.
A mechanism is very, very similar. But, the paradox really emerges when you take that elite pain-masking physiology out of the Arctic tundra and just put it in a suburban living room.
Oh, right.
That exact same trait that makes them these legendary athletes creates a massive, highly dangerous blind spot at home. I mean, they can develop serious, life-altering internal issues while showing zero outward signs of distress to the people who love them the most.
Okay, I want to push back on this just a little bit.
Sure.
I mean, I understand they're tough, but isn't it kind of human nature to trust our own eyes? If you are a highly attentive owner you spend 4, maybe 5 hours with this animal every single day.
Right, you're constantly with them.
Exactly. You feed them, you walk them, all their little micro expressions. Isn't it incredibly difficult to accept that your own daily meticulous observations are inherently flawed?
Oh, it's incredibly difficult. It requires an almost uncomfortable level of humility.
Yeah.
It is incredibly jarring to realize that your attentive observation just isn't enough. You have to understand that the dog isn't just acting normal, they are actively suppressing distress signals.
Actively hiding it.
Right, because in a pack dynamic, showing weakness makes you vulnerable, so they hide it. When you rely solely on your eyes, you are basically trying to outsmart an animal that is biologically hardwired to deceive you about its vulnerabilities.
It's like, yeah, okay, it's like you've purchased this super rugged, high-performance off-road vehicle, but before it rolled off the assembly line, the manufacturer deliberately went in and severed the wire to the check engine light.
That is a great way to put it.
Right. You're driving down the highway, assuming everything under the hood is functioning perfectly because the engine sounds great, but you have zero dashboard indicators if, like, the oil is leaking.
And operating a vehicle without a dashboard requires a fundamental mindset shift.
Right.
I mean, the question an owner usually asks is, what do I do when my husky seems sick? But by the time a stoic breed actually looks sick, by the time they refuse a meal or, can't stand up, the problem is likely very, very advanced.
So it's already too late.
Often, yes. So the required mindset shift is asking yourself, what should I be doing when my husky seems perfectly fine?
Okay, so we have to rely on proactive, invisible shields because we literally can't trust the dog to tell us it's hurting.
Exactly.
The source material outlines several non-negotiables for healthy adults and starts with the annual comprehensive exam. And this isn't just like a quick pat on the head.
No, not all.
The vet is physically manipulating the joints to check for microscopic friction, assessing the overall body condition, and running that really crucial routine blood work.
Yeah, that blood work is the dashboard we were just talking about. When we look at a chemistry panel, we are looking for early metabolic changes.
Right.
For example, by the time a dog visibly starts drinking massive bowls of water and showing outward signs of kidney failure, they may have already lost a huge percentage of their kidney function.
Wow.
But a blood test, it catches the subtle elevation in specific enzymes or toxins in the bloodstream months or even years before that behavioral change actually happens.
That makes total sense. And we are also layering on preventive measures like parasite control and vaccinations. And the source notes make a really critical point here. There is no generic one-size-fits-all schedule for this.
No, there really isn't.
It has to be meticulously tailored to the individual dog's age, their specific lifestyle, and the regional risk factors of where they actually live. Like a dog hiking in tink-dense woods in the Northeast needs a totally different protocol than a dog walking on paved sidewalks in an arid climate.
Exactly. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, there is a fascinating psychological trap hidden inside the very concept of preventive care.
Oh.
Yeah. When prevention works flawlessly, it is entirely invisible.
Oh, right.
You give the medication and you experience zero negative consequences. Your dog doesn't get heartworm. Your dog doesn't get a catastrophic parvovirus infection. You literally never see the disease.
So you feel like you're solving a problem that doesn't actually exist.
Yeah.
You're paying all this money, you're adhering to a schedule, and you're seeing absolutely no dramatic result. It feels totally anticlimactic.
Exactly. Human psychology is just wired to react to visible, dramatic stimuli. We want cause and effect.
Right.
So paradoxically, the absolute success of the prevention tempts owners to become really lax. They start rationalizing.
Like, oh, he's fine.
Yeah, they think, well, my dog is incredibly healthy. He's never been sick a day in his life, so maybe I don't need to be so strict about this monthly pill. Or maybe we can stretch this vaccine booster out an extra year.
Because nothing bad has happened yet.
Right. You are essentially paying for the absence of a crisis, and the human brain really struggles to value the absence of a threat consistently over, say, a decade.
That is so true. Okay, so we can use a tailored pill to invisibly shield their internal organs from parasites, but there's no magical pill to shield their teeth.
No.
That requires actual physical, mechanical intervention. And the source highlights dental care as one of the most highly under-recognized health issues across all dogs, but it is especially dangerous with a stoic breed.
Dental disease is a silent epidemic in veterinary medicine. It really is. And it perfectly illustrates the danger of the husky's stoicism.
Wait, I have to stop you there because I genuinely struggle to understand this on a biological level. I've had a bad toothache before, right?
Oh, it's the worst.
It is. An exposed nerve or an infected gum is just blinding, debilitating pain. You can barely think, let alone eat. Are you seriously telling me a dog with a cracked tooth or rotting root will just happily crunch down on a bowl of hard, dry kibble.
Yes.
How? How do they mechanically chew food without just collapsing in pain?
Well, the sheer physical mechanics of the canine jaw play right into this. You have to remember, dogs do not have flat molars for grinding food into a paste the way humans do.
Okay.
Their jaws only move up and down in a shearing motion. So when a husky has a severe agonizing toothache on the right side of their mouth, they don't stop eating, they simply shift the kibble to the left side of their mouth. Or, because their saliva is designed to lubricate large chunks of meat anyway, they will simply swallow the kibble whole to avoid chewing entirely. They adapt their mechanics to bypass the pain.
And as the owner, you just see an empty food bowl and assume everything is fantastic.
Exactly. Meanwhile, that localized pain in the mouth is turning into a systemic cascade. The gums are highly vascular, so every single time they do manage to bite down, the pressure forces bacteria from the rotting tooth directly into the bloodstream.
Oh, that's terrible.
It is. Over time, that constant shower of bacteria can settle on the mitral valve of the heart, or it can filter into the kidneys, causing massive internal organ damage.
And because they won't cry about it, the signs are totally microscopic. The source mentions things you would so easily brush off, like bad breath that just seems slightly more pronounced than a few months ago.
Yep.
Or a very subtle reluctance to chew on a specific hard toy they used to obsess over. Or, and this one is crazy, they will pick up a toy, casually drop it, and just paw at their mouth for like 2 seconds.
And as an owner, you think, oh, they're just bored of that toy.
Right. But really, the mechanical pressure just hurt too much.
Which is exactly why consistency in home care, like regular brushing, matters so much more than attempting a perfect dentist-level cleaning once a month.
It's about building the habit.
Right. Yes, you are mechanically removing plaque, but more importantly, you are forcing yourself to regularly inspect an area of the dog's body that they are actively trying to keep hidden from you.
Yeah.
You are lifting the lip, you're looking at the gum line, and you're checking the fortress walls for cracks.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though. Because it's not just the husky's mental toughness that hides the illness.
Yeah.
Their literal physical body acts as a camouflage.
Yes, absolutely.
Even if you are aggressively looking for signs of disease, their biology is literally designed to block your view. And the source specifically highlights eye health as a major factor here.
It is. The breed has a documented genetic predisposition to certain eye diseases. Things like progressive retinal atrophy, where the photoreceptors in the back of the eye just slowly die off, or hereditary cataracts that cloud the lens.
Okay.
And this is where their ability to adapt becomes truly mind-bending.
Yeah, because if a human is slowly going blind, they start bumping into things, they squint, they stop driving at night, it is painfully obvious.
So how does a dog quietly compensate for losing their vision?
They map their environment.
What do you mean?
Well, a dog's brain relies far less on visual input than ours does anyway. As their low-light vision begins to fail, their other acute senses just dial way up to compensate.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they use the echo of their own footsteps bouncing off the walls to gauge distance. They use the subtle air currents detected by their whiskers to know when they are approaching a solid object.
That is incredible.
And they use olfactory gradients, right? Like the smell of the kitchen versus the smell of the living room rug. They use that to orient themselves. So they basically create a 3D sonar map of your house in their head.
Exactly. In a familiar home environment, a dog can lose a staggering amount of their vision before they ever bump into a coffee table or show a single moment of hesitation.
So you literally never know.
You wouldn't. They adapt so seamlessly that you simply will not notice the deficit just by watching them walk to their food bowl or navigate the stairs. It requires regular monitoring by a vet with an ophthalmoscope and potentially specialist screening to look deep into the retina and catch that cellular degeneration while there's still time to actually manage it.
It's like trying to diagnose a patient who is permanently wearing a pair of dark sunglasses and like a thick winter parka.
That's spot on.
You can't see the degeneration in their eyes, and you certainly can't see what's happening to their body under all that fur.
Yeah, the famous husky double coat. It is an evolutionary marvel for thermal regulation, but it is an absolute nightmare for visual diagnostics.
Right, because they have those harsh, straight-guard hairs on the outside to repel snow and water, and then that incredibly dense, woolly undercoat to trap body heat.
It's impenetrable.
The source notes that they blow this undercoat 1 or 2 times a year, resulting in just a comical amount of fur everywhere. But the critical takeaway here isn't about vacuuming. Routine brushing isn't just a cosmetic chore. It is a vital medical exam.
It really is. The physical environment of the dog's body completely conceals information. That dense double coat can hide tumors the size of a golf ball.
Wow.
It can hide engorged ticks. It hides severe skin irritations. The source notes specifically call out a condition called zinc-responsive dermatosis.
Oh, yeah. Why zinc, though? What is happening on a biological level there?
So zinc is a crucial cofactor for DNA synthesis and cell division, which is incredibly important for skin cells that need to rapidly turn over and repair themselves.
Okay, that makes sense.
Historically, huskies evolved on an Arctic diet of fish and blubber, which provided highly bioavailable zinc.
Lots of nutrients.
Right. But today, eating commercial kibble, many of them have a genetic malabsorption issue. Their bodies simply can't pull enough zinc from the food. As a result, the skin cells stop repairing correctly, leading to crusty, scaling, really painful lesions, usually around the mouth, eyes, and ears.
But if they have those lesions on their body, and you were just, passively looking at your husky from across the living room, you will never see the damaged skin because the parka is completely in the way.
Exactly. Brushing forces you to physically part the fur. It allows the owner to see the skin underneath. It mandates active tactile investigation. You cannot passively observe this breed.
And that tactile investigation is the only way to track their weight, too. I mean, the notes emphasize that you cannot just look at a husky to know if they're gaining or losing weight.
Impossible.
A 10-pound weight gain on a 60-pound dog is a massive metabolic shift, but the fur completely absorbs the change visually. You have to physically get your hands through the guard hairs, feel for the ribs, and look down from above to see if there's an indentation where a waistline should be.
Maintaining a lean, healthy body condition is perhaps the most powerful preventative tool an owner has direct control over.
Yeah.
Every extra pound exponentially increases the mechanical strain on those athletic joints and really taxes their cardiovascular system. But if you rely on your eyes, the fur will just trick you into thinking they just grew in a thicker winter coat.
So what does this all mean? I mean, if we can't trust the dog's behavior because they are psychologically hardwired to hide pain, and we can't trust a visual scan of their body because their physical camouflage completely blocks our view, what on earth can we actually trust?
Well, we have to trust objective data, and we have to trust the compounding power of daily habits.
It's the ultimate detective work. The force emphasizes that nutrition and daily exercise aren't just chores on a to-do list. They are active, daily, preventative medical treatments to keep the joints lubricated and the metabolism stable.
Definitely.
But the real strategy comes down to meticulous record keeping. Maintaining accurate long-term records of vaccines, blood work trends, past behavioral concerns, and specific weight history is literally preventive care. The source actually mentions a tool called the VitalPet app, which is designed to organize this exact kind of lifelong medical data.
This raises an important question, though, about data, because a single data point in a vacuum tells you almost nothing.
Right.
If you weigh the dog today and he is 60 pounds, is that healthy? You don't know unless you know that he weighed exactly 60 pounds 6 months ago.
It's the boiling frog effect. It's like living in a house built on terrible soil. The foundation is sinking exactly 1 millimeter a month. Because you live in the house every single day, your brain normalizes the shift. You don't notice the floors are slanted until 3 years later when you drop a marble and it rolls rapidly across the living room.
That is a perfect analogy. How do you catch a millimeter change?
You can't.
Right. You audit your own flawed memory by refusing to rely on it. You use a spirit level, or in this case, a data trend line. When you live with a pet, the microscopic changes in their energy, a slight dulling of their coat texture, a slow 2-pound weight gain over 14 months, these are entirely invisible to your daily perception.
Because your brain constantly resets its definition of normal based on exactly what you saw yesterday.
Which is why the single biggest mistake an owner can make is treating vet visits and lab work as optional once the dog seems healthy to the naked eye.
Yeah.
By skipping that annual exam because nothing seems wrong, you are actively removing the only mechanism capable of catching the problem before the marble rolls across the room.
Right.
A trend line of objective data, like a series of liver enzyme tests charted over 3 years, or a logged weight history, it removes human cognitive bias. It takes the invisible, slow-moving biological changes and charts them on a graph so you can finally see them.
So if the owner of that 4-year-old husky from the very beginning of our deep dive had decided to, just skip the vet visit simply because the dog looked healthy and was playing fetch, that early warning data wouldn't have existed.
It would have been completely missed.
The liver crisis would have remained entirely hidden under the stoicism and the dense fur until the dog physically collapsed, which is exactly the crisis we're trying to avoid.
Exactly. To synthesize all of these concepts, keeping a stoic athlete like a Siberian Husky healthy requires you to accept a fundamental biological truth.
What it is.
You cannot rely on them to complain. You have to build a rigorous, multi-layered defense system. And it starts with a deep, trusting partnership with a veterinarian who tailors a specific preventive plan.
And it requires daily tactile habits, right? Brushing the coat to physically inspect the skin,
Yeah.
actually feeling the ribs to bypass the fur, monitoring their mechanical chewing habits to catch that hidden dental pain.
Yes. And it demands rigorous data tracking over time, using apps or journals to chart the invisible trends that our human memory is simply guaranteed to miss.
Wow.
For you listening, whether you own a husky, a different stoic breed of pet, or even if you are just thinking about how you manage your own personal health care, the core lesson here is entirely universal.
Totally.
Waiting for a dramatic, visible symptom to appear means you have already lost the early intervention advantage. True preventative care is the relentless discipline of looking for answers when there doesn't seem to be a problem.
I love that. Before we wrap up, we do want to note, as the source material rightfully points out, that this deep dive is for educational purposes only. If you ever have concerns about your pet's health or notice any of these subtle shifts we talked about, always consult directly with your veterinarian.
They are the ultimate partner in interpreting that hidden data.
Absolutely. But before you go, I want to leave you with a final, lingering thought to chew on. We know these dogs are incredibly stoic because they were selectively bred over centuries to survive and work in extreme, unforgiving environments. But as dogs co-evolve with modern humans, is this stoicism actually being unintentionally reinforced by our modern, convenient lifestyles?
That is a fascinating sociological angle.
Right. Do we unintentionally favor, and perhaps even breed, pets that just suffer in silence simply because they're easier to manage in our busy, chaotic, everyday lives? I mean, a dog that doesn't complain about a toothache is a dog that doesn't interrupt our Zoom calls, doesn't require an emergency Tuesday morning vet run, and doesn't disrupt our packed schedules.
Right, it's just easier for us.
Exactly. But if our modern lifestyle is subtly rewarding this silent suffering, does that give us an even greater moral obligation to actively look beneath their brave surface? Because if we don't check under the hood of that rugged vehicle, we might not realize the engine is in a full meltdown until we are already stranded on the side of the road.
It is a profound responsibility to see what they're trying to hide.
It really is. Keep asking questions, keep looking beneath the surface, and we'll see you on the next deep dive.